We got a rookie, Jeremy. A rookie. So we started to tape the podcast, Jeremy, and we weren't rolling. Whose fault is that?
It's the production guy.
Yeah, production guy. Hey, big news in the world of Jeremy Booth today. Big news. Look at this. Look at that. The book is coming out. It is called Inside the Mind of a Scout.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know.
How do you feel about this?
Well, I don't know if you want a picture inside my head, but you're going to get one anyway. It's a very good, very interesting look in depth at what it means to when scouts are coming to watch players play. You know, what are they looking for? What's the goal? What's the upside? What's the idea? What should you be thinking as a parent? You know, how does this all play out? Look, there's a lot of questions about this, whether it's recruiting, whether it's scouting, and those aren't the same things, by the way. But you know, there's some anecdotes in there. Player home visits I did, times I have with the Brewers and the Twins and the Mariners, and the learning process. And it's a good read. I've read it a couple of times. I'll have the final version on Monday after it's all spliced together.
Here's what I don't understand. Why have I not gotten an advance copy to look at? Because I do have some experience, Jeremy. I've had people send me rough drafts, chapters of books before they were published to look at. Now, given our relationship, I would have thought that I would be in that same boat. People who I'm not as close to them as I am to you, and they sent me their books to look at.
I'm going to tell you that, you know, I'm just blown away by the fact that there's even a book.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just been something that's been written over time. It's been pieced together. It started out with an outline of just even how to scout, you know, some basic stuff there. You are on the list for an advance copy. I will get it. I received this Monday, and there'll be advance copies that are put together, and you know, Monday the 8th.
But even just looking at it for, does this work? Does this paragraph, is it too long? Like, it never came to your mind that maybe I would be a person that you might want to talk to about?
Yeah, with the advance copies done, I'm happy with what came out.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Right. Here's the thing about it.
Guy writes one book, and all of a sudden he thinks he's an expert. Well, I've read a lot of books.
Here's the thing about it. It's not something that it's conversations you and I have had. It had to be explained even further. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't something that I can talk about with the guys at the ballpark. It wasn't stuff you and I have even talked about on television. Sometimes we get technical because we do that. This was really something for families to take it all the way to the beginning and start over and understand. So when you get to these type of places, the concern isn't there, the understanding isn't there, is there, and the focus is on what the bigger picture could be.
Yeah, and in fact, now that I'm reading this promotional flyer. Is that what you call it? I don't know.
I mean, it's
book promo. It says
it's a book promo.
It basically says Inside the Mind of a Scout by former Major League Baseball scout Jeremy Booth offers a behind-the-scenes exclusive behind-the-scenes look into the world of baseball scouting. This comprehensive guide is aimed at easing the anxiety parents and players feel when a pro scout is at their game and to help them navigate the competitive world of baseball with confidence. It's funny that is in there because what do we hear and read about every draft cycle? Draftitis, right? The player who maybe is pressing too much because of all the attention on them. Do you address that in the book?
Yeah,
not the word draftitis.
No, but we address the draft. I mean, there's one scenario where I've talked about a home visit, and I talked about a player. I'll give you this tease. There's a player. Okay. I didn't name the kid because it was not fair to the kid.
Sure.
But there's a visit I went on, and I used to always try to get an idea of where a kid thought he fit. Because if a kid thought he was a first rounder, I had him in the 6th round. Probably wouldn't have matched. There's a long way to go, right? As far as signing a player at the end.
Okay, you're talking about signability, not about a player's confidence in his ability.
I'm just talking about where he sets
because
himself.
You know, if there's a 6th rounder and he's thinking I'm a first rounder, then you know what? Listen, climbing the ladder. A lot of times, it's not just about talent; it's about what's in here, right?
Yeah, it is. But it's not. This isn't something so much where we're talking about knocking a kid's confidence down. This is something about understanding where he fits in the draft, right? So back then. You could take a kid in the 5th, 6th round, and if you didn't sign, there wasn't any penalty. But you lost a 5th round pick. You don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that when you took the player, you had him nailed. You knew he was going to sign. So what part of my home visit tactic was to get a player to talk about himself. Well, I didn't positive or negative him. I didn't disagree or agree. It was always about talk to me about your game. Talk to me about how you assess yourself. And then where do you fit? Where do you think you fit in the draft? Well, in this one player, his story's in the book, so I don't mind telling you now. Well, this is an interesting story. So the kid says, I said, where do you think you fit in the draft? And he says, well, I want $1 million. And so that wasn't what I asked. I just said, where do you thought you fit in the draft? I said, the money will take care of itself. Where do you think he fits? And I said, do you think you fit in the first 30 players? He goes, no, I'm not that good. I'm not there yet. I said, well, first 60 players. He goes, no, I'm not there yet either. I said, first 90 players? He goes, no, not really. I said, first 100? Yeah, I stopped. And he goes, yeah, I'm somewhere in the first 100 players. I said, well, where in the first 100? You said not 30, not 60, not 90, so you're kind of in the back, the last 10 or so? He goes, yeah, I'm toward the back of that. I said, that's like the fourth round. And I said, you just told me you want $1 million. Well, that's first round money. I said, so you're telling me you're a fourth rounder by your own assessment of where you fit in the country, and you've seen the country, because he had been around and seen it. So you tell me you're a fourth rounder, and yet you're asking me for $1 million. Two doesn't go together. I said, I'm not telling you to make any other choices than what you want, but you can't tell me you want $1 million and then tell me you're not $1 million player. And it was a tactic to get to understand the kid. Now the kid didn't make it. Okay, kid didn't make it. That's okay. It's very difficult to make it. He went out and played for a while. Went in the third round, where he fit, but he didn't make it. And it was just an approach to learn. Right? There's another one I did. I talked about how Michael Reed was signed. I talked about Taylor Youngman, how he was signed. Right? And we started talking about some of the things I learned with the Twins and some of the experience I had with the Mariners. So, you get into some of those anecdotes to kind of bring some of this stuff to life, some of what the terms mean, how roles come together, how draft rooms operate, things like that.
Here's what I want to know. Who's gonna read the audiobook? Who's gonna do the audiobook?
Well, that might be you and me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm allowed to. Well, maybe I could.
Yeah, I think you'd probably be okay.
That would be good.
Yeah. No, the audiobook is something that
everything that has like quotes of you talking, that could be you, and then I could do all the other stuff.
That would be good if we did the audiobook. And it was actually said you should do an audiobook with this. So.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So.
I mean, if people are in the car listening.
Yeah. No, we'll do. That's definitely one to put us on the queue for.
All right. So a lot has happened since we last talked. The Houston Astros have had a number of injuries. And I hate to beat that. Where's that horse?
I mean, I don't know. I made him glue.
Yeah. We talked about, obviously, the situation where before the season they should have signed a veteran starter. And the baseball gods. Jose Urquidy goes down, although it apparently is not too serious. We don't know about Luis Garcia. Urquidy is a shoulder. Luis Garcia is an elbow. I think I'd be more worried about the elbow.
Yeah.
And here we are. The Astros are missing 3 starting pitchers, and we can point to the World Baseball Classic for 2 of those instances. We could maybe point to the way the game is played now with the pitch clock, and there's this different way guys work. They have to speed themselves up, and maybe they get more tired or tired more quickly. But however you slice it, Jeremy, we're 30 games in, and the Houston Astros have some big problems.
Well, Jason, first of all, I want to say they didn't have a GM.
That's what Dusty Baker told me in February. But yet they were able to re-sign one of their own pitchers, Rafael Montero, and go out on a recruiting visit. Recruiting visit.
Dr. Bagwell himself.
To go get Jose Abreu.
Yeah, that whole not having a GM thing doesn't work if you can pull that stuff off, okay? Here's the deal. Maldonado hasn't swung the bat real well, which is what he does, right? And Yainer Diaz is getting no bats either.
Well, he's caught the last. I think he caught 2 games in this series against the Giants. But anyways,
he's playing sparingly for somebody that is a top 100 prospect with legitimate offensive skills and ability. who is not as bad defensively as he has played at times. There's things to clean that up that no one's just doing with him. So you have a situation where you got a young catcher with a bunch of pop behind the plate. You let Christian Vasquez walk away, and so this guy's now made the club, and you're not playing him. You've got a DH position that's been rotating at different times, and if Alvarez isn't in there, then we got some issues because he's got most of the production from that spot. You got Michael Brantley, who's on the way back, which isn't going to have the strength that we at least shouldn't have the strength. Never know what's going to happen that he had before. It's going to take him a while to find some kind of rhythm at the big league level, but he should hit. You got Altuve, who's finally on his way back, and this is just the offense, by the way. Altuve, who's on his way back and coming back a step at a time, progressing better than expected, but coming back, not back yet. He's missed all of April now, right? And then you go to the pitching staff where you didn't address a thing. You didn't really address anything. Now, Hunter Brown's been pretty good. He's had some rough outings in spring training. He had some innings here and there, but you know what? Been pretty good.
Yeah, his last one wasn't great against the Giants, but
for a rookie year, it's been pretty good. You can't turn around ever, though, and rely on a rookie. You just can't do it. You have to give that guy some support. Now, if you had addressed a veteran starting presence or problem, like we talked about, even had some depth in AAA you could call up, which tells you they can't, by the way. Can't do it, okay? If you had that, then when Urquidy goes down or Garcia goes down or McCullers, who hasn't thrown the ball in a competitive pitch yet, is down, you have a situation where you can preferably overcome it. Now, if I remember right, McCullers got hurt the first day of spring training. Is that correct?
No, it was actually before the official start of spring training.
So that's
he
February.
was throwing a bullpen before the guys reported.
Yeah, but he was in Florida.
Yeah, he was in Florida.
Okay, so in February he goes down.
Yeah.
March, April, February, that's 2.5 months minimum. And he's not on the mound yet, right? So we got another month at least. Lance McCullers has not thrown more than 160 innings in any season. That was one time. We did this math, and he averages about, 100 innings that we came up with, ish?
Yeah.
Ish. So that's not a 3-starter, but we still run him out like he's a 3-starter because Lance wants to start. It's not a 3-starter, okay? So now you've got McCullers down, Urquidy down. Whoever told the Houston Astros non-general manager, the ghost that was sitting in there, whoever told the non-GM that you could turn around and get through a season with 5 starters without any of them going down, man, I want to know. I want to be part of that conversation. I'd love to see Jim Crane square him up. How's that work? Does Crane turn around and look at like
we can't hear you.
Sorry. Does he turn around and look at the wall and be like, how could you tell me there was only 5 starters is all we ever – does he do that? Does he talk to – hey, Dusty, how could you tell me that Maldonado had to go out there every single day? We didn't need any more middle infield depth. And Maurice Dubon's played well. David Hensley has not, okay? So you have a situation where you didn't address things that were obvious to address. And look, they still got through playing 500. And we said April, 500, May, 550, and then we'll see. Meanwhile, one of us in this room – said there was another contender in the AL West who might be better than people thought. That would have been
the Arlington team,
Arlington Club. And I'm not saying they're going to run the game.
No, they're 2 games up on the Astros.
I'm not saying they're going to run it. I said they're going to be better than we thought, and they were going to be in the hunt, and they might be. Now that type of team in Arlington right now, it still fades away towards the end. Nothing against them. They're not quite there yet. It fades towards the end. If Jacob deGrom can't stay on the mound, which seems to be a consistent issue with him now at this point to, the point of McCullers levels. If he can't stay on the mound, it's a major issue, a major problem with all that money they gave him. That said, the Astros have some fortifying they still need to do, and now they have nothing else to do it in. There's nothing else they can trade from the system except for, the young, spectacular, overwhelmingly talented Corey Lee.
Well, that's not entirely true. They do have some other pieces.
Who?
Justin Dearden?
No.
He was the darling of spring training,
Great.
Jeremy.
That's great.
And just to for fact's sake, they have 6 starters.
Who?
Right? They came in with 6 starting pitchers.
Are you counting McCullers as 6?
Yes.
I'm not. So that's where we are. I get it. Just because
Fromber, Hunter Brown, Javier Urquidy, Garcia, and Lance. So they went in thinking we've got 6 starting pitchers.
What, I'm a starting pitcher too. Now you got 7. Look, you can say Lance is a starter and you like him in certain situations, but it's funny. I was talking to an ex-big league pitcher yesterday. A guy called me for about an hour. I don't know how we were on the phone about an hour, but we talked for about an hour. And he talked about us in the playoffs, you and me.
Okay, me and you.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he talked to us in the playoffs, and he talked about the prediction about when we were on air. And I was like, man, it's got to be Christian Javier tomorrow. And it was like, no, it's Lance McCullers. And I was like, what? Okay. And then they go into game 3, and he doesn't. We rain out. Remember we rained out? And then we had a day, and I'm like, man, they got to go ahead and run Javier out there now. Nope, Lance McCullers tomorrow. And I said to you, he's going to get shillelaghed. Didn't I tell you that? It's going to get nasty.
I don't know if those are your exact words,
I mean,
but
it's on YouTube for
for
posterity.
No.
It's there. But it was like, this isn't the guy in this spot. I'm not killing him. He's got value. He's nowhere near what he was before because of the injuries. That'll beat you up, but he's got value. It's just not as a 3-starter. He's a guy that took those 100 innings and threw 80 impact innings. He's a guy that really helps your bullpen. It might give you a spot start here and there, maybe some depth, but he's not a guy to run out there every 5 days.
All right, so I've been trying to come up with something new for the podcast.
All right.
I feel like the game that we played of naming your former teammates did not go well.
Why? Because I got them all?
Got them every single time within 3 clues.
Okay.
And I really haven't gone through all your scouting reports.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, but I don't know if people are that interested to read about the, say, 230th player on your list.
Probably not. I don't know if I'm interested in reading the 230th player on my list. Anyway.
So I'm thinking maybe there's a phrase. I think we use it once in a while. You use it, I think.
Okay.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, I say that. Let's pump the brakes.
So if you're down with something, just don't say anything. But if you are against something, I'm going to say pump the brakes.
All right.
And that means that I've got extra work to put in a screeching brake noise like this. All right. Max Muncy, Dodgers, 12 home runs, leads Major League Baseball in homers. Will he lead Major League Baseball in homers at the end of the season?
Ooh, good question.
You'd think this would be more
No.
rapid fire. No, you don't say no.
What did I say? Pump the
So
brakes?
pump the
Oh,
brakes.
my turn. I got it. Okay, do it again. Let's do it again.
Max
Muncy
Muncy leads the Major League
brakes.
Max Muncy leads Major League Baseball in home runs with 12.
Pump it.
Will he lead Major League Baseball in home runs at the end of the season?
Pump the brakes.
Yeah. All right.
I like that. That was good. My fault.
Thanks.
That's my fault.
Yeah. Here's
I don't have the Emmys, Jason. That's you.
Yankees GM Brian Cashman says, "Don't count us out. Don't give up on us."
Pump the brakes. I mean, you saw me in the tunnel last year and they walked right by. We have a shot. Nope. No, you do not. No. There's a lot of changes that happen in New York. And look, Brian Cashman, I think they're hard on Brian Cashman, but he's been there 20-something years now, right? I mean, he's been there a long time. And so I think he took over in 98 for Bob Watson. Is that correct?
I believe so.
So that's 25 years in the chair. So that's a long time. Like the guy's got, some wins and some losses and some kind of break evens. And, I don't know that you tell a guy who's been doing it 25 years he doesn't know what he's doing. At the same token, there's been some course correction that needs to happen. They haven't taken yet. That organization and Aaron Boone is, he's the manager. He's got to work with the front office. He's got stuff with the players. Aaron does a good job of really being positive with his guys. Does a good job of being accountable with his guys. Talks around things a lot. We've seen that firsthand.
Yeah, something about the wind with the Minute Maid with the roof open.
But it's not Aaron either. Aaron's good. Aaron's a smart guy. He's a good manager. There's something missing that Cashman and company are listening to and how they're playing the game. And I'm gonna leave it there. And if that accountability lies with Brian Cashman, I'm okay with it. But as far as not counting them out, pump the brakes.
All right. Here's another one from The Athletic, Ken Rosenthal. This is from a while ago, a couple of weeks ago. This is it, how Jared Kelenic adjusted body and mind to live up to the hype. Jared Kelenic is off to a very good start with the Mariners. Yeah? You think he's figured it out?
I think that what he did was he got away from some of the swing flaws and pressure that was happening there, which was largely mental.
Mm-hmm.
Think about Jared Kelenic. And I've spent very limited time with him, and it has been some, is that Jared was always anointed. He's anointed. And when you're anointed by everybody, there isn't a whole lot to fight for. Now, that doesn't mean that he didn't take the approach of trying to be aggressive. What it means is that he believed in himself and sometimes too much, and then listen to the wrong people at times too. That just happens when people try to put their stamp on you. He reminds me of J.D. Drew. And J.D. was a very, very talented player that never got all of his ability out of him, but he was good enough to play for a long time and have some really good seasons. He also made some money. Dodgers paid him. Cardinals paid him out the window. The Red Sox paid him. He played for the Braves too. So he was in pretty good places. You know what I mean? I think Kellenick's approach, I think the body, I think the way he's doing it reminds me a lot of J.D. He's going to be a good player. Does he hit 40 home runs? I can't tell you that. Does he hit 20 and hit 275? I think that's probably a good player.
From The Athletic, the Astros Player of the Month, or what they call the Employee of the Month for this past month, the first month, Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
That's the tweet.
That's the tweet. Milwaukee Brewers, fourth best team in baseball, power rankings.
Pump the brakes.
18-10.
Pump it. Pump them hard. We'll see. A lot of season left. I'm not a believer yet. I'm not discounting them. It's interesting. Matt Arnold's at the helm. Steve Stearns has stepped aside. Council always has a good way of getting the most out of his players too. I think they've gone a little bit back the other direction. I think baseball's starting to course correct a little bit. So, I don't think Andy Haynes is there anymore as the hitting coach. I think they got rid of him and somebody else is in there. Don't quote me on that, but I think I remember that. So, they've got some work to do. They're good right now. My pick in that division will be St. Louis till they tell me otherwise.
Arnold says we have a great culture going right now.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
All right, so what do you got going on now? Once the book comes out, you've got to start doing player selections for your big major event, right?
Yeah, so we've got 39 events now with softball between now and the middle of July.
Oh, I didn't even think about softball.
Softball's brand new. We got a pretty good crew. Been on some calls with them. We've also hired some regional directors. They're spread out throughout the country. We'll end up with 20. So that's pretty good, too. That gives us a nice reach as far as who players out there and organizations out there to be part of it. Have some other deals in the pipeline, some of which you and I have shared offline. I cannot share them right now on camera, but it's a big step for us going forward. FSS Plus, which is the writing arm of Future Star Series Digital, is doing really well. Thank you to all of those that are reading it and checking out the website and the stories and the organizational content. So that's been good. Jason Churchill and Joe Doyle have been doing a good job there. Mike Ashmore, of course, and the stuff he does directly for the players. So it's just been an interesting time as we go forward. The big league lens is so valuable. We're going to get back to the ballpark. I know you've been around Minute Maid a little bit.
Yeah.
I have got to get back to
They
Minute
keep
Maid.
asking, where's Jeremy? Well, not really,
Dana.
but I know they're thinking it.
Dana,
they're not at you. Dana probably
Dana
is.
does, yeah. So I'm going to get out there and go see my buddy Chris and get over to the stadium and see some games, and we'll start talking about it before and after. Maybe do some post game. Keep the chops ready for the All-Star game and draft and the postseason, because they'll go back to the postseason.
Dream scenario, Jeremy Booth. Dream scenario.
I'm living it.
Who?
Sorry.
One person. You could pick one person to do your audio book. Who would it be?
Jason, come on. That's you. And
No,
it is. And the reason why it's you.
No.
The reason why it's you.
Like Denzel Washington?
Nah, I'd pick you because I would pick somebody who could work off the story with me that understands how to stay in rhythm. And I'd pick somebody who's got experience in doing those type of things. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I give you a little bit of a hard time, but the accolades I get for being a scout and for being a baseball guy, you blow them away with the Emmys. I mean, you're really good at it. So when it comes to our chemistry and our time, when it comes to that, that's something I'd want to do with you. I thought about bringing in Daniel Gotera for some.
Yeah, I noticed that you posted that picture again. I was just going to say, oh, no.
He loved
it.
I said it to him. He loved it.
He did.
He thought it was good. I thought it was pretty good. It was right timing. So, I think you and me will do the audio book. I think there's some stuff it may come up for me pre-draft and some analysis, and I'm still thinking if I want to do that. I'm pretty happy with the rhythm of the life right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good with it. So focusing on what we're doing, focusing on you and me bringing a good product together, continue to deliver stuff on baseball. The Astros are giving us a lot to talk about, good and bad. Draft is coming up for them. I do think it'll be different this year with how they're going about it. I don't think that it's going to have Dana's stamp on it. Let's say that. So excited to see where that's going, and the book comes out in a couple weeks.
Every series in baseball is important. I'm not going to minimize anything. But for the people in Seattle, with the Astros going there this week, and I know Seattle hasn't performed as well as the people in the Pacific Northwest would want thus far, but man, I got to believe the Mariners and their fans are thinking, okay, these Astros right now, they're ripe for the taking. They're ripe. They are. This is our time. And man, I'd be shocked if there aren't huge crowds for this series in Seattle. And I'm guessing like the Mariners are licking their chops right now.
Yeah, the Mariners need this series though. They need to do some things to get themselves playing in the right direction. They've had some moments, and they've had some not so good moments, and they need to get themselves moving. The Astros need to get through the month of May playing 55. 550 baseball. Okay, 500 in April, almost exactly, right? One game up, right? They need to get through May playing, 550 baseball. If they do that, they'll win the division because by then everybody's going to be back. And McCullers is going to be in his window of 4 months where he can give you the innings you need throughout the course of that time and stay on the mound and rehab and then go in the postseason and go into the bullpen where he belongs, right? So I think they're going to be in a good situation. I think if they can get that far, they have to do it. The Mariners, however, though, do need their wins. The range. People are going to fight because if you get the Astros healthy and they're still in the hunt, they'll win the division and they'll win it easily.
By the way, how about Patrick Wisdom? 11 home runs.
Yeah, he's
pump the brakes.
No.
Great story, but you know what? Those are the guys you root for.
Yeah, I have
in the sense that here's a guy that been around for a long time.
Cardinals took him, right? Originally?
Yes.
Yeah, 4th round.
Ish.
Does that sound right?
I think. Yeah.
I had him in.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
All right.
Well, that's going to do it for another Extra Bases. We're still trying to work out the studio and the setup. The camera face fronting, front of our faces, I think is much better than before. And if you have any questions, suggestions, we want suggestions. Should we go back to Jeremy's old scouting reports? I mean, I could start combing through them again.
Yeah, I pump the brakes.
I probably need a little bit more. Research on that. But anyways, this thing is fluttering. So that's going to do it for the podcast. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.